so cold and my mic broke, but I think it still works. Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well. So today we are talking about remote work because that's my new favorite passion, and I'm basically dragging you guys down this rabbit hole with me because that's just where I am right now. All right, remote work. So, in the past week, I've been looking for my own remote job because I finally have time to do it. And I can, well, okay, let me start here. The product that I created, which is a list of 25 international remote work job sites, um, is purely to direct you to companies that hire people in South Africa for US and UK based businesses. That's purely what it does. So the second part of this, and by the way, in like since I've released it, it's just the usual problems where people just can't get over the first hump but want the end product. And I honestly don't have time to even address what a huge mindset red flag that is. Anyway, second thing is that um, I've had several part time jobs in the past. So I know that it's possible to manage two to even three part time jobs. And this one is awesome because you can have maybe one full time role and maybe two smaller ones, or one full time and one semi small, semi full. What I mean by this is you can have a role where you're starting at 8 and ending at, let's say, 2, and start another one at 3, ending at 8 or 9. That's like two 6 hour shifts that I still think you can negotiate. But yeah. Anyway, so the more I dig into this, the more I'm finding other companies that are part of remote only teams. So these people started, let's say, in COVID times, and they are still, there's no need for them to have an office because everyone that works for them is remote. So they specialize in this, like technically, their recruitment. And yeah, anyway, so with me, my job starts at 7 and ends at 2, roughly. Technically, on Mondays, we end at 3, so that Fridays we can end at 1, but the average is 7 till 2. But my kids leave at 1. So the other hours for admin. Anyway, which is never enough. Anyway, so technically, I could have two full time jobs. Um, and I'm in the perfect time to do it. I live by myself, I don't have dependents, all of the above. I think the only time that I would quit it is if I need that kind of like pre-evening, evening time open. So um, it just, the reason why I'm talking about this is that it bothers me that there are so many people that I know need this job, but they just have like limited beliefs beyond my capability. But I've given myself a deadline to feel bad about that. After that, I don't give, like, I'm not gonna think about it anymore because I just realized today it's out of my hands and it's not something I can solve. I love being a troubleshooter, problem solver, and my product solves a problem. So to solve a follow-up problem, no. The reason why I feel this way today is that I started a tutoring kind of channel on YouTube. I recently felt bad that I didn't post anything last year. But to be honest, I was juggling three jobs and studying, which was basically my fourth job. And so it's reasonable to think that I just didn't have the time. Whatever free time I had, I rested. Um, but this time I tried to go hard on it, but not on time enough. It was terrible. But recently, someone left a comment on there that made me feel like you are actually fine. You understand what I'm saying? And because me posting videos on this channel was self initiated. No one had to push me, no one had to ask me, no one had to hold my hand. I found out what I needed to find out, I followed what I needed to follow. And to be honest, to batch produce like I did, I used a little bit of ChatGPT that helped me out a lot. Um, and now it reached the people that it needed to reach. And Now that I can see where we're headed, which is like lower views and all of that stuff, because it served its purpose. Basically, it's to help people prepare for exams. I need to figure out what the next strategy needs to be in order for me to make it work. Same with remote work. If you are using one recruitment company, let's say you applied to two jobs that they had available, that's not enough. You need to at least apply, in my opinion, to like 10 a week. And that's the bare minimum. And you are employed. So if you're not employed, it should be double that. And you should be using multiple recruitment companies. And I feel like that's totally doable if you know where to look, hence the list. Okay. Now, recently, I've also been looking into companies that are not recruitment agencies, but still are growing at such a high rate that they just keep hiring. That's my next avenue. Also self initiated, because I solved the first problem. Now I'm seeing a different problem. I'm solving that one also in relation to my product. The reason why I'm keep hammering on this is that a lot of people need to be pushed for them to help themselves. I don't get that. Like, no. Most of these jobs, remote jobs, you have to work on your own. You have to troubleshoot on your own. You have to problem solve your own. In the job that I was in, I remember I forgot to send emails. I was working maybe like, I don't know, 4 hours a week on this particular business. And I think the previous day I got sick, and then I didn't send the emails that I was supposed to send that day. So the next day, my employer sent me a message on Slack and was like, what's happening here? Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think he would notice, because it wasn't fixed that I had to send them on that day, but it had these intervals. And instead of saying sorry, blah, 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 I was like, yes, I'm aware of this issue and I'll fix it. And he said, okay. And that was the end of it. They don't care, like, what qualification you have. They don't care. They don't care. They just want you to do the damn thing that they contracted you to do. The worst part is, if, because it was like a whole process, I'm at the end. If I was supposed to receive something and I didn't, and maybe the holdup was with the video editor or the thumbnail person or something, he would be so apologetic about me not getting something on time. Same with the other lady that I used to work for. She would be so, like, it would irritate her, or it would agitate her to be the bottleneck in our process. Like, it would rather be you than it be her. Do you understand what I'm saying? These people, they just want to keep moving, because everything in their lives is moving, and they need you to be on the same pace. That's why I'm saying that if you are not motivated, if you are not self-sufficient, if you are not self-initiating, if you are not if you're not taking action, you should not be looking for a remote job, because it's not like here in South Africa in terms of like internships and stuff where they need to show you like 1,000 times how to do something. And I'm saying this from experience before you come for me. I've seen live internships where the person has an ambiguous job title. They need to wait for someone to come off of their leave to show them or to tell them what to do. Um, it's crazy. And a lot of people that I've worked with are not, like, were not self initiated. They needed to be told what to do. And that's just the opposite of remote work. With remote work, they tell you one time, and then the rest is up to you. And they also rely on you to report things that they are not seeing. That's a very important part of it. If you are not, it's like you can't be the slacker in the group. And to demonstrate, I once worked for, who was this person? Like, if, for example, you work for someone and you have a faster way to figure something out, it's your job to suggest it. You can be like, hey, if we do it like this could be faster than the way we're doing it. They love that. Or if, like, you basically take off like an entire task off of their hands, they love that as well. What else? Or if you do such a good job in a fast way, they want to contract you for more. I've had this happen to me several occasions. So the first one, I worked for a government entity, and I was only supposed to do like one or two meetings. And then I ended up doing over 12 meetings in a couple of months. And it did come with criticism at first. Like they were like, they didn't like the way I did it, blah, 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 blah. And based on what they complained about, I adjusted it the next time. And you would think that they would be like, oh, these look better. Nope. They were just like, these are acceptable. That's their vibe. Never appreciative, but my client appreciated it. It's just that the people that he works with didn't appreciate it, which is fine. He's the payer, not them. What else? I've had this aviation company ask me if they could basically contract me full time after just doing one thing for them. I think I did their online course material. Then they wanted me to take over their LinkedIn. I should actually check up on them. And then obviously, I've had one client um, ask me to take over one of his clients, and he invited me to a meeting with this client. And then, based on that meeting, I guess the meeting went well because after that, he increased my pay and contracted me again later on. Actually, everyone that I've worked with, I liked in terms of um, their work ethic, their level of organization. I also love their vibe. Like I feel like I've had too many employers here in South Africa who were either too harsh, too laid back, or just like the vibe wasn't there. You get what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, so if you are serious about looking for a remote job, you have to possess all these things. And if, let's say, you know that you want to be a legal administrator, you need to be clued up on everything legal lease, basically. Do some extra research. What is it that they want to see? And all of that stuff. If you want to be a social media manager, get the necessary experience that you need in order to be a social media manager. Um, I got all my experience from Fiverr, all of it, and that helped me out a lot. If you want to be a bookkeeper, I've seen so many bookkeeper roles. I'm even considering taking a QuickBooks short course because I feel like if I have that qualification, again, they don't want your qualification. It's always preferred but not mandatory. But we all know that they would take the person who has it above the person who doesn't. So I'm even considering taking that because I know that I'll be paid more than a virtual assistant. And depending on whether I do a good job or not, they might contract me for more or for more full time. So all of this to say that be ready if you want to do a remote job. Be ready if you want to be a remote worker because everything depends on you. And if you are not like that, or you don't like that, or um, then maybe don't do it. Like look for something South African where someone's going to show you how, and what to do with everything. But if just take initiative, even learning. I mean, the way that I put my list together of 25 international remote job sites, I had to learn how to put that together. Do you understand? But whenever something comes with a price tag, people are just like, why am I buying this? My question is, why am I getting it for free? Someone worked at it. It's not like you plugged it in somewhere. So always be open, always be willing, always be desiring, but more than that, always be curious because that's the only way that will make you an exceptional remote worker. I actually follow this chick. I'll put her link here. And she specializes in helping people leave their 9 to 5s, do remote work, and travel. That's what she does. And I would love to travel, but I really do love my job. So my travel can only be limited to the holidays, and I'm okay with that for this year. So you can definitely follow her as well because she knows everything there is to know about the space. She's been doing it for a couple of years. One thing that I feel like she helps people with the most is just the belief in knowing that you can get a remote job from anywhere in the world. Actually, she helped me believe that. Before I started following her, I did not know that you could get a full-time job from a US based company. And whenever she would post something and say it was worldwide, I still feel like I had doubt about whether or not that included South Africans. But then when I started looking into it, curiosity, I was astonished by how in the dark I was, and maybe a lot of you are, no offense, about the fact that remote work, full time remote work exists for South Africans, and you can actually get paid super, super well. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to address them in the comments. But just know that anyone can get a remote job, but you just have to want it, and be willing to work on yourself, and basically be packaged with what you need in order to take one on. Because if it's worldwide, you can imagine how many people in the world apply to it. Or if it's just for South Africans, you can imagine how many South Africans are applying to it. So find a way to stand out so that you can be the obvious choice. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.